All right, guys, welcome back on the Lake Sports Talk. I'm here with my good friend here, Bo Gray, also big Steeler fan. We're gonna talk about the unfortunate Steeler loss and what's gonna come up in the offseason. And honestly, we're probably just gonna rant for a little bit. So, Bo, just gonna start off. Give me your thoughts on that Sunday night game.
Well, thanks for having me. Wish we were talking about something a little different here, but Sunday night was a tough one. Really just from the first play, we could kind of get a vibe that it wasn't going to be our night. 28-0 at the end of the first quarter. Three was it 3 or 4 first half turnovers?
I believe it was. I want to say it was
It was 5 in
three.
total, but 3 in the first.
If it was five in total, I think it was. It might have been. I think it was four, actually. I do think it was four because I think the
three
last one was the
picks
late
and
one. Yeah.
Pouncey.
Yep.
It just you can't win games that way, and it tried to come back, and they got something going there for a little bit. I think that not going for that 4th and 1 early in the fourth. Like I told you, like hypothetically, I understood where Tomlin was coming from, but as far as the whole momentum things go, like you got to go for that one, and just couldn't get a stop in the first and fourth quarter, and 5 turnovers against a team that loves to run the ball. Not going to get it done. And here we are sitting at home.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree more. Just from that very first play, I'm sure me and every other Steeler fan out there just got that weird feeling that, oh no, we've seen this before. And then the next drive's a pick. It just can't happen. It doesn't matter who you're playing. You could be playing the Jets out there, and that stuff happens. You could be in the same situation. I'll give credit. I don't want to give credit. Got to give credit to the Browns. They came out hungry. They took advantage of every opportunity. And just from my standpoint, as bad as our offense was, I didn't think our defense really showed up at all either. I mean, even in that second half, like you said, we got things going. We needed some stops. They got two, but Tomlin on the 4th and 1. At the time, I was at the point where I said punt it. At the time, I was one of those people who said punt. Looking back on it, definitely probably should have went for it. Not just because they scored, just how the game was going, had all the momentum, 4th and 1. I mean, let's be real. We don't get that first down, we weren't winning that game.
Right.
And so, like, I get it, but you got to go for that. And our big thing, at least my big thing with Tomlin, is he doesn't manage games well, in my opinion. He just doesn't. With whether that be the clock or some calls like that call going for it, it's just something we got to figure out. Which leads me to my next thing. What do you feel about the coaching staff and what changes need to be made?
So I think you look at the 3 big ones, obviously: head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. Um, I think I think Tomlin should stay. I really do. Um, he hasn't shown me anything to not bring him back. And
Yeah.
yeah, the collapse is bad, but at the same, and Tomlin, I have such a hard time putting my finger on it, because after 2018, which was the year where it was AB's last year, Le'Veon didn't play, the 7-2-1 start, and you collapse down the stretch, end up missing the playoffs. I wanted him gone then.
Yeah.
At the end of last year, I wanted him for coach of the year at one point.
Absolutely.
And now we're sitting here again, and like, you go 12-4, you win the division, but it's more about how we got to 12-4 and where we're at now. The frustrations come in with Tomlin. And again, like, I can't really put a finger on it. As far as Randy Fitchner, I don't even care to say his name. Get him the hell out. His contract's up. I don't see how they bring him back. I honestly think the only reason why he has been around was just quite simply because of Ben. Ben
Yes.
not even took him under his wing because, obviously Randy's a lot older, but
Yeah.
he kind of said, I like him, so we're going to keep him. And that's just how Ben and the Steelers are. And as far as Keith Butler goes, I mean, I don't have a particular problem with him because, the Steelers, they didn't play particularly well on defense Sunday, but they have one of the better defenses in the league. If things are going, I think they have the best. If things are at the worst, I still think they're a top 7-ish defense just because of how talented they are. So I don't necessarily think you fire Keith Butler, but you got to get an OC in there that'll just put their foot down and say something. Matt Canada at the beginning of the year, I loved what he brought to the table. That offense was awesome. The movement, the running game. But man, it just ever since that Cowboys game, really, just everything kind of went downhill from there. And it just, I'm not even going to say that because they played well against the Jaguars. They dominated that whole game. They dominated the Bengals. And the
I'm going to
offense
say the
played well in
Ravens
both
game.
of those games. But yeah, I agree. That Ravens game was really where it started to go downhill. Didn't even attempt to run the ball. And one more thing here, I said it. I said it after every post-game thing I did. You can get away with that against Denver, Houston, Dallas. You're not going to get away with that when it counts most. And surely enough, here we are while we watch the Ravens and the Browns still play in the playoff.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with pretty much all of what you said. Going back to the Tomlin thing, I thought the year we lost to Jacksonville at home, I thought that was it for him. I kind of freaked on him a little bit. I was like, he's got to go. I said that. I mean, that team, the defense was pretty bad that year, but that team was loaded, and I think that team was way too loaded not to at least make it to New England that year.
No doubt.
At least.
No doubt.
So that one made me mad. And then you're right, absolutely right. The one with the last year with AB, 7-2-1. Is that what we were?
And you finished 9-6-1.
Just the collapse. And that was the one where I was like, you lose AB, you lose Le'Veon the next year. I honest to God thought like that year was going to be his prove it year. Like, this is it. Ben's running out. Defense is starting to get there. These are his guys now. You know what I mean? There's nobody else. These are all his guys. The problems were out of the locker room. And what happens? Ben gets hurt 2 games, not even 1.5 games into the season. And we knew our season was done when Ben went down. With that being said, I completely agreed with you. Tomlin really showed me something that year. Going 8-8 with those games. I mean, right in playoff contention. 1 game, missed it by 1 game. Lost to the Jets. That killed us. But being real, being real. If we got in that year, we weren't doing anything anyway. And Tennessee made a run. I mean, so they deserve to get in. Don't get me wrong. This year comes back, starts 11-0. I go, you know what? The perception of Tomlin has changed, in my opinion. I go, he can be our guy. But I start thinking about it, and I start after that Baltimore game, after the Washington game, after the Bengal game, after the Bills game, it just starts to hit me. That's the 3rd year in a row Tomlin's team has had a December collapse. 7-2-1, whatever, or 7-8. No, 8-5. I'm sorry, 8-5. About 3 weeks left. Need at least 1 win to get in the playoff game. Can't get it. This year, thank God we were already in the playoffs, because I honestly don't know what would have happened if this happened earlier.
I completely agree. I agree. I agree.
So that's the thing where I'm like, come on, Tomlin. And then you want to blame the defense. And then to make it worse, I found out he was calling the plays. And just to add salt to the wound, we talked about that 7-2 collapse. It started with the Charger game, I believe, at home, up big, and we blew a lead at Heinz Field, which is, I mean, Heinz Field, you know this, and I know this. You don't come into Heinz Field and you don't beat the Steelers at Heinz Field. You just don't do it.
Prime time, nonetheless.
Absolutely. That game was prime time. These teams are coming in here and beating us, and it feels weird. Let me tell you, I mean, it's weird. I mean, we had the Patriots come. I mean, you got the teams like the Patriots and the Ravens. That's a rivalry game. I can understand that. But these teams, the Browns at home, and on top of that, their COVID situation, it was just a bad game, and I just felt like they weren't prepared for it. And I agree, he's got to come back, but here's my thing. If things, and I'll get to the next part, what I'm going to talk about now. If Ben does come back, and things don't go well this year, Ben's going to go. Obviously, I mean, this is it for Ben, no matter what, even if he does come back. And I think if it doesn't go well, he's got to go with Ben. Now, the other people, Fitchner, I'm not even going to waste my breath. He's got to go. Fitchner's gone. I mean, we have to find a new. I thought Todd Haley was horrible until I saw this dude.
I agree.
Fitchner was bad. Butler, I mean, my thing with Butler is I can't. It makes me so upset when I see a video of the Chargers game, that game we're talking about in the collapse, and a video of the Browns game, and it's Keenan Allen guarding, I think John Bostic or whatever was guarding Keenan Allen in the final drive. And fast forward to where we are now, we need to stop on defense on a third down. Robert Spillane's guarding Jarvis Landry. That can't happen, guys. I get that's the defense we play, but it doesn't matter. It can't happen. You're not setting your guys up for success. The defense has playmakers all over the field. All over the field. That can't happen. But I guess you never want to let anything slide. I'll give them a break because the defense played outstanding last year, and it played pretty dang good for the most part this year. So, and I'll give it up. And they were down 28-0, and it really wasn't the defense. It's not like the defense gave up all those 28 points by themselves. So yeah,
but they could have prevented some of the 28 too. They could have tackled in the red zone.
If they could tackle, they got to learn how to tackle.
And that Jarvis Landry play was a joke. I mean, Baker Mayfield, say what you want, but the dude is the most. I mean, I see where he's going with the ball before it happens. And I'm not a football guru. I've never played football, but I know enough about it that I kind of see stuff developing. And just how do you pick up on that, man? Like, come on. It just
absolutely. And here's, the Browns fans made fun. A lot of my friends are Browns fans. I'm sure you as well. But they made fun of one of their main things was Ben doesn't throw the ball down the field. Your offense is just checkdowns. I'm like, the thing that's ironic is that's how they beat us on Sunday. I can't think of a play that he threw down the field. Maybe one of the first plays of the game. Like, I mean, that touchdown was a slant. Big third down was a slant. I mean, he murders on short throws. So, right. I mean, it's not like Baker Mayfield was God on Sunday. He certainly was not. He just didn't make a mistake.
Yeah, and basically that's what the Steelers needed. They needed that. And granted, that Steven Nelson, do you remember that tip that he had that could have been a pick six? And granted, it was a third down and they got a stop on that possession, but
that was it.
That's the break that Pittsburgh needed and never got. And I want to hit on one more thing that you said, because it's a good point. Yeah, they play that scheme of defense, and I don't think it's perfect either, by no means, any means, excuse me. But if you're going to play that defense, fine. You have the playmakers to do it. But your all-pro Cam Hayward, your career year Stephon Tuitt, who is a Pro Bowl player. I don't care if he didn't make it or not. He's a Pro Bowl player. Tyson Alualu, who, again, was really good career year, your best defensive line in football. You got to make a play. And if you remember, they didn't make a play against Jacksonville. They didn't make a play against Cleveland. And I know that Jacksonville game was 3 years ago. But the point is,
it's the same thing.
The point is the last two playoff games the Steelers have competed in, they have scored 37 and 42 and lost both games. At home, nonetheless. And I'm going to add one more thing about the Jacksonville thing. They put up 42 that game against the best defense in the league, lose the game.
Absolutely.
Your best guys got to make a play. And at that time, Cam Hayward, TJ Watt was a rookie. Shazier got hurt. Cam Hayward is probably the best player on that defense. You got to make a play, and you're the leader.
Absolutely. The matter of fact is, both teams came in there and they did Pittsburgh Steelers football in our faces on our home turf. They came into Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, and Cleveland, and ran the ball and said, we are more physical than you guys. And that should never happen. If you wear black and yellow and you're coming into Pittsburgh, that should never happen. There should not be a more physical team than the team wearing black and yellow. It is that simple. And it's happened twice now. Twice. Both letdown years. A huge letdown this year. I don't even care. I mean, from where we were to where we are right now is just absolutely insane.
Yeah, like, I said it. This team is probably the most overrated team of all time. I think it's a joke. It's a joke that we're sitting at home right now, and you made a great point that, thank God we did start 11-0, because what if we dropped Dallas or Baltimore or one of those other toss-up games? What if we did drop one of those?
It's unbelievable. It truly is. And I get what you're saying. It did go back. Like they showed, good teams bad teams show flashes of being good. Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers showed flashes of being bad, and it all came out the later half of the year. It all came out. Those halves where we were sitting there going, what the hell is this team doing? And they come out, bang. And we're like, oh, they're good. They're good. And we see it. And that's the sad thing is we sit there and we are so used to it. We are so used to the Steelers coming out slow against the team, but we are like, they'll pick it up. And they do. They find ways to win. And people hate on them all they want. We ignore it because, like, we're winning football games. And in the NFL, it's hard to win football games. And for once, that came and bit us in the ass. I mean, it just showed. There was no sign of life from December 1st, and just in Mike Tomlin always says we're gonna impose our will in December. We're gonna cause hell in December. December football. Where's it been? It's been nowhere to be found. It's been nowhere to be found. And that's the most important time of the year. That's when you want to get hot. Look at the Ravens. I hate them, but look at them. They're hot right now. The Bills are playing good football. The Browns are playing. I mean, besides the Jet game, whatever, they're playing. I mean, they're playing good football. Everybody in the playoffs playing good football except us in Seattle. And where are we both at? We're sitting at home.
And that's why I hate to say this, but I really hate to say it. I like Cleveland to not necessarily win, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. And I honestly would flirt with a Cleveland upset, as much as I hate to say it. Because the Chiefs, I don't think, are playing that well either. You hit it right on the head with Baltimore. They got hot. And I think the biggest issue with the Steelers team is they had the same group back. They had 21 of their starters back, minus Javon Hargrave. So they knew what they had. They were experienced. The coaching was back. And that's why I gave them the upper hand at the beginning of the year. Did I think they were going to start 11-0? Hell no. But with that being said, I think they peaked too early, and that's what the problem is. They came out ready, and they came out knowing what they had and what they had to do and how they had to win, while these other teams are sitting here scheming and figuring it out. And like you said, Baltimore, and I think they ended 5-0, and now they're the hottest team in the league. And it just, I don't know. It's just so unfortunate. It's all just such a sad thing.
It is. It is. That's a great point. And now going on to our next point, the old gunslinger, number 7. What's to do with our beloved hero, number 7? What are your thoughts on the whole situation? Should he retire? Should he not? What do you think?
Well, you got to think about every option, right? Because pretty much anything's on the table. As far as Roethlisberger specific goes, I'm not going to necessarily – now, granted, he made some bad throws. He obviously had 2, maybe 3 picks that it was his fault, right? The one that went off Deontay Johnson's hands and the Pouncey one, you can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
I know he passed for 68 times, but the dude had 500 some yards and 4 touchdowns, and we scored 37 points.
Yeah.
He had for most of the year, he had one of his better years of his career. I don't know. I don't know. You would like to think that he can come back and he can win us games, right? And that he has one more run left if we keep a majority of this team. You would like to think we have one run left. Okay, so that's out the picture. Say he leaves. Who the hell are you going to get that's better?
Exactly.
Because you were talking, Sam Darnold was an option, right?
Yep.
It's not looking like Sam Darnold's going to be there anymore. Mm-mm. I don't like any free agent. I don't like Dwayne Haskins. I don't like any of these. I don't like Jameis Winston. And this is the thing. I don't like Jameis Winston or those guys if I'm trying to win a Super Bowl. Yeah. Last year, if we were trying to go 9-7, 10-6, and squeak into the playoffs, I like those guys.
Yes.
And I also think, on the other hand, it's a waste to play Mason Rudolph because, again, he played well against Cleveland. But I need a lot more than a one-game sample size. All right, let's look at 2019. Dude was terrible. No. So, and again, why are we trying to waste these years with this defense and the team that we have with Mason Rudolph, where if things go bad, we win 7 games. If things grow great, we win 10 and probably slip in the playoffs, but don't do anything with that. I want Ben back for one more year and live with whatever result Ben Roethlisberger can give us in 2021. That's my thoughts.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. My thing with, first of all, let me just get this out there to anybody who does listen. All the Steelers fans that are ripping on number 7 don't understand how good we have it, and you will be soon to find out why. Those guys on Sunday that we played have been through every single quarterback you can imagine. Right. Every single one. Now, is that bad drafting? Yeah, some of it. But some of it's just bad luck. And finding your guy, we aren't just talking about a good quarterback right now. We are talking about a first ballot Super Bowl champion Hall of Famer. It's that simple. This guy, I mean, you don't find these every day. Is he at that level where he was before the arm injury with AB? No, he's not. Yeah, I mean, let's face it, he's not. He's going to be 39 years old. And I get it to the people, too, who were saying, Frankie, he's $42 million cap. Yeah, well, number one, if he does come back, anybody with a brain knows Ben's going to restructure that contract. Everybody knows that. Here's my thing, and you this is where you nailed it. Can Ben Roethlisberger still win you football games? Yes, I'm going to say yes. He did this year. He didn't play, and when I say he did this year, I'm not saying he put the team on his back, but he really, besides the Bills game, and maybe, I mean, you can make an argument, maybe last Sunday, those are the only 2 games that were truly, and the Bengal game, I'm sorry, that were truly on him. So there's 3 losses. That football game was not on Ben. Those dudes dropped 8 passes that night. And the defense choked it. That wasn't on Ben. But like you said, Mason Rudolph is not our guy. Not our guy. And when I look at it like this, I look at it in my opinion, it is hard to find a Super Bowl caliber defense, and they only come around once so often. We have one. I don't care what anybody said. We have one.
No doubt.
Pieces of the puzzle are there. Are we going to have to fill some voids here and there? Yes, but if you look, we already did. Alex Highsmith is a stud if Bud Dupree's not coming back.
One of the best defensive rookies in football.
Yeah, I mean, he's a stud. He's going to be good. He's going to be good. The problem that scares me is going to be on the back end of the defense because I think they're going to cut Hayden, and I think they might cut Nelson. They might keep Nelson, but they might even cut him too and sign Sutton and Hilton because cap space. But who knows what can happen? I might be wrong. I think you ride 7 because 7's your best chance to get to the Super Bowl. And if 7 doesn't work out, like you said, it doesn't work out, and you let him go, and we start from scratch from the quarterback spot. Number one, we can't pay these guys. We ain't getting Deshaun. We ain't getting Matthew Stafford. We ain't getting any of these guys. So unless you want to give up Mika and Deontay Johnson, who in a couple years is going to be an all-pro and one of the best route runners in the National Football League once he gets his mind cleared. It gets a stud. So the Steelers don't trade first-round picks anyway. We ain't giving that up. And if you want someone like that, who the hell are you going to sign? Because you have to give up people even if you do sign someone like that. That means TJ ain't coming back. Goodbye, Mika. Bye, Cam. Got to trade you too. So if you want to lose and have a great quarterback, cool. Then let's go trade everything for Deshaun Watson and maybe have a good year this year and then waste his career away. That's the way I see it right now. But I think they have to sign a backup for Ben, a reliable backup. Unless they think Mason Rudolph's the guy, which I don't, you don't, a lot of people don't. If Ben does go down, at least we can have a shot for the playoffs this year. But he is our best chance to win football games. He's better than Dwayne Haskins. He's better than he's better than 50. I would say he's better than 50% of the other quarterbacks in the league.
No doubt.
The dude, he's going to be all right. And one of the reasons that nobody talks about, the reason why when he did struggle and they don't throw the ball down the field, they have nobody to block for him.
And they have no running game, so it's not a threat.
Yes.
You can't respect the run. Keep you honest.
Absolutely.
That's what the problem is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because I think the people that say that the Steelers they don't have any downfield targets. I think that's BS. I mean, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Juju, and James Washington, all of them can go get a jump ball down the sideline.
They can all go. Yeah, absolutely.
It just there's no keeping it honest. And my thing. Go ahead.
Well, that's my thing. You made a great point. I mean, that's the thing. All those people that said they can't throw the ball down the field. Did you watch that game? I mean, he was throwing the ball down the field fine. It's not bad. Like the throwing the ball down the field, that's not bad.
Right.
That actually is not bad.
Right. I think one more thing too. I had a guy come up to me the other day, and he goes, "Hey, so I'm looking at some stuff like rumors and stuff, and 3 guys really popped off the page to me, and it was the 3 you mentioned. It was Deshaun Watson, Matt Stafford, Carson Wentz." And he's like, "You would love those guys in Pittsburgh, right?" I'm like, "I would love them." I sat back and I said, "Now, how do they go get that done? Realistically?" Well, stop right there. You don't have an answer because there is none. They don't.
You can't. You literally can't.
And yeah, you're right. You know what? Throw 3 first-round picks and our other two of our other top guys at Houston for Deshaun Watson. Cool. That doesn't accomplish much in reality. That really doesn't. You know what I mean? And it's literally a tough spot. It's a tough spot.
It's literally if they do that, which they're not going to. They are 110% not going to. But they did. It's literally that, like, you want to talk about, like, we keep saying for Ben, now or never. For him, it's now and never if you do that. Because God forbid, what happens if he does get hurt or they do lose? And we just wasted. They go 6-10. Houston has our next 3 first-round picks, probably a good player that we got rid of. And then you have all these other people. Deshaun's going to want paid in his contract. You have all these other people we got to sign. You just can't do it. You can't do it. You have to look at it at a real standpoint. The only way the Steelers are getting a quarterback like that is if they draft one or they sign a cheap backup. That's it. Or they stick with Mason Rudolph. There's 3 options here. That's literally the 3. They are not getting a big time franchise quarterback.
No. And that's what the other tough thing is. Like, they're talking about drafting a guy, and that's great. I wouldn't necessarily mind that. However, you have bigger voids to fill in the first 3 rounds of the draft, and those 6 guys all might go in the first round, let alone top 3 rounds. Yeah. I'm thinking of Lawrence, and in no particular order, Lawrence, Fields, Trask, Trey Lance, North Dakota State, Mac Jones, and I'm thinking of another big
Zach
name.
Wilson.
Zach Wilson. That, and I might even be forgetting one. But those,
probably.
But those are the guys that, again, Zach Wilson was the last name we just brought up, and some people are saying he could go as high as 3, low as 20. So it's nuts. It's crazy.
And that's the thing. That's the other thing too with drafting quarterback. Everybody wants to draft a quarterback until he comes out and he's absolutely terrible. If drafting quarterbacks were so easy, the Browns would have been in the playoffs 18 years ago.
Right. And guys like me and you will sit here and be logical with ourselves and say, we want to tackle from this school. Well, it's most of the guys that don't know much about what we're doing is that, Mac Jones, because he just won the national championship. Well, I don't even think Mac Jones might not even be the top 3 out of the guys we just mentioned. So it's all a hype, it's all a fame thing, I think, too. And the guys that truly understand it, like I know you and I both do, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. I mean, it's funny. It's comical. Yeah, everybody loves to do that. Go do that on Madden. See what happens. Tell me what you have to give up for getting Deshaun Watson on Madden, Steelers fans, and let me know. And let me know how that goes. And then look at me and tell me with a straight face that you would do it. I'm sure I would love to see that happen.
I mean, Christ, wasn't Laramie Tunsil worth 2 firsts? Wasn't Jamal Adams worth 2 firsts? What the hell's Jamal? I mean, Deshaun Watson.
And we were talking about a franchise quarterback. That's offensive guard.
Exactly. But
lastly, 2 more things I'll talk about real quick with you here, Bo. Number 1, what do the Steelers do? I know we talked about cap space and stuff. Steelers got a lot of free agents. Just to name some off. Actually, you know what? We'll go through it one by one. I'll pull up the list. How's that sound? We'll go through it, and you tell me what they'll do, and I'll tell you what my opinion as well. First up is Villanueva. I know that for a fact. These are all free agents.
He's gone, and it'll free up a ton of space. Well, not a ton, but it'll free up. I think it's somewhere between 11 to 13, which is huge. Especially for a left tackle, that's huge. A huge amount of money freed up. So yeah, he's cut. He isn't good anyway.
Yeah, he is not good. He's definitely gone downhill, man. Especially his past 2 seasons. Right. He's got to go. Great guy, but
love the story. And I'm just going to kind of jump the gun. James Goner, he will be gone here pretty quick, but James Conner, again, love both their stories. Just fact of the matter, push comes to shove, they're just not good enough.
I absolutely agree. Love James Conner, especially me being a Pitt fan. Watched him in college. Was super excited when they drafted him. And let me just say this real quick. Super excited when they drafted him, and I said, why would they draft James Conner? They have Le'Veon Bell, and that was my younger self, and that's why they drafted James Conner, because Le'Veon Bell's gone now. And if that doesn't show you they know what they're doing, they know what they are doing. Absolutely. Everybody, when they draft a wide receiver, Juju, why would they draft him a wide receiver? Yeah, why do you think things like this happen? They know what they're doing. Don't ever question the Steelers.
Yeah, smart. No doubt. I think unbiasedly, I genuinely do. I think they're the smartest team in the league. everyone even talked about Belichick and the Patriots. Oh, they find guys out of nowhere. No, that's
Yeah.
just because they found a couple small, short white guys that
Yes.
and Tom Brady in the 6th round, and they think it's that's really not the case. If you look at their
Yeah.
drafts, they really don't draft that well. Steelers,
They
I think,
don't.
Steelers are undoubtedly the best drafting team in football, and I'm just going to leave that at that.
I mean, I couldn't nothing to say about that. Perfect. This one intrigues me a little bit. You talked about him earlier, Tyson. I don't know how to say his name, Alalu or whatever. What do you think about him? Yeah.
If they can bring him back cheap, sure, but he's aging. Is he really going to have another year like he did this year? What is it? Is his age on that? Isn't he like 34?
I know he's up there. I don't think he's that old. I think he's like 29, 30, maybe 31.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Well, regardless, he's aging, so and they're going to need money. So I don't think he's worth throwing like $5 million at. But if they can get him for like 2.5, sure. But if not, it's not going to be the end of the world, I don't think.
I agree. I think if he comes back and he's okay with a pay cut, I think you sign him. I do. He played pretty well. Gives us a little depth too, especially
Right.
those guys up front are a little older, but they can still play. And I mean, wouldn't be hurt to see him walk, but wouldn't be mad to see him stay. So depending on what he wants. And here comes a big name here. Juju.
On. And I know
Just
we
like
disagree,
that.
and I know we disagree on it, but from my perspective, I'm just going to say this. The two most important free agents we have are Mike Hilton and Bud Dupree. I think you re-sign Mike Hilton at all costs. I think you do your best to sign Bud Dupree. If you can't, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I don't think, and yeah, we lost the Washington game, and that's the game he got hurt. Or did he get hurt against Baltimore?
He got hurt against Baltimore.
Okay, so even better. Fits my argument even better.
Yeah.
1-5 without Bud Dupree, 11-0 with. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that Bud Dupree was the reason we lost the way we did, because he's not. That being said, there is zero doubt, and it is pretty clear that the defense did go downhill a little bit without him. Is Alex Highsmith good? Is he promising? Hell yeah. But he didn't put up that many great sack numbers, and the defense didn't look the same. So I think you re-sign those two at all costs. And now back to Juju. If you have the money then to bring them back, cool, let's do it. But I don't think they will. And I think the Jets are going to throw the bank at him to go be the number one receiver. I think it's going to be music to Juju's ears because he's getting three things he's going to love: money, Sam Darnold, his college quarterback, and fame in New York.
Yeah. I
think it makes too much sense to not do it for him.
Absolutely. It's funny. I always feel like we're losing somebody to New York, but I agree with the New York part. I think if Juju is going to leave, he's going to the Jets. He's going to take a lot of money, go be their number one. He wants that spotlight. He loves the spotlight, obviously. But I'm going to go where Steelers fans say not to go, and I'm going to say if he truly wants to stay in Pittsburgh, like he says, he takes a pay cut and he stays with us because he's a physical. And just want to throw that out there. The last show right after the game, I was hot. Pretty pissed off we lost, and I said, Juju got to get the hell out of town. So I'm going to take that back and apologize for that one. But I think you sign him. I just think he's a tough, physical kid. He's young. He knows our system. He's familiar with it. I think he needs to mature a lot more. And I mean, I like him with that wide receiver core. I think he does his job. I mean, he doesn't. I didn't hear him complain about not having the ball. I didn't hear him complain about the play calls. He had his TikTok stuff, but you know what? That's not causing any like drama inside the locker room. Outside, yeah, but inside the locker room, he's not stirring it up. And I love how physical he is. If he wants a lot of money, I think you 100% let him walk. But if he truly wants to work things out, let him work things out. And I also can see a franchise tag with this. I could.
Realistic, it is.
Yeah. And I'll since you already hit on Bud Dupree and Mike Young, I'll just hit on that. I 125,000% agree with you on Mike Hilton. Mike Hilton is a must sign. Gotta sign Mike Hilton. Playmaker. I mean, you can't say enough about Mike Hilton. Have to sign him. I think that the other person that they must sign is Cam Sutton.
Yeah, I would tend to agree.
I think Mike Hilton and Cam Sutton. I think and that's where I said earlier in the show, you cut Joe Hayden and you cut Stevie Nelson and you stick Sutton in there and you got to go find someone else. But I like Cam Sutton. I like how he plays. And for me, I mean, that's just my opinion. Bud's huge, obviously. Bud's huge. But in my back of my head, I'm already counting Bud out. That's why I didn't say he was the big, like, two biggest. But, I mean, you made a very valid point. But my two biggest right now would be Mike Hilton and Cam Sutton for us to sign. And just hitting on Bud Dupree, he came on strong, man. I mean, he did come on strong. Him and TJ are to be messed with. But, you know, you're coming off an ACL. If you can get him for cheap, you keep him. If you get him for cheap, you keep him. If you get him a 1-year rental, you keep him. I don't know how franchise tags work. Can they franchise tag him again? Because we did franchise tag Le'Veon twice.
They can franchise tag him again, but it's going to be a stupid amount of money, I think.
Okay,
because
yeah,
I think
that's probably
tag this year, wasn't it close to like 15?
That's what I think. It's something weird, isn't it? Like they get paid the top like 3% of what they're like.
I don't know the exact numbers, but I know
Yeah.
that if they were to tag him again, it would go to some number that just really wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. And that's
Yeah.
why I like tagging Juju, because if one of the two, it would make sense. But like I remember Le'Veon, like he got a stupid amount the second time, but it really didn't matter because he never showed up.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not even saying that to be a dick. Like that's actually what happened. You know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
A couple things I like that you said. I'll start on the Dupree thing. You're right, but it also brings up the question. Hilton and Sutton in a perfect world, yeah, that's good, and I agree. And again, I hate to see it, but I think Hayden's going to get cut. Yeah. I do. I think it's a big money saver, and they have enough pieces everywhere else. But this brings up the other question. Mike Hilton hasn't played a whole lot of outside corner. He's kind of a fly around blitz, playing the slot. Do you want to experiment with new things? It's an honest question. I'm not saying that I'm not disregarding it because I like that idea. But it's a lot of things to think about.
Absolutely. I think they would go sign someone. I do. Like someone like a Stevie Nelson. They'd go find someone like that. Or keep Stevie. Like, I mean, there's one or the other. But like you said, I mean, it's going to hurt me too because I genuinely love Joe Hayden. I love Joe Hayden, but he's gone.
If they have four cornerbacks, if we're talking about four cornerbacks, and that be Joe Hayden, Steven Nelson, Mike Hilton, Cam Sutton, those are the top four. If we bring two of those guys back, I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but I think Joe Hayden's kind of got to be the odd man out just because of his age. The other three are relatively young, and Joe Hayden's the most expensive.
Yes.
So, as much as I hate to say it, I don't like to see any of these guys leave.
No.
But it's the sport we're talking about here that it's hard to manage a cap, and the Steelers have a lot of decisions to make.
Absolutely. And we could just spitfire on this one real quick to get to the last thing we're going to talk about. And the last thing shouldn't take long. But Zach Banner and Robert Spillane. I think Banner, if he takes it cheap, sign him. Why not? He got hurt. It should be cheap. And if he's available, our offensive line needs help, sign him. And Spillane, I think Spillane's gone because I think he worked his way into a bigger contract elsewhere from how he played during that time period. But you know what? I wouldn't mind to see him stay with us and just say why not. And I have to ask you a question because I actually just thought of this and I don't know because he was not on the list. What's the Avery Williamson situation look like?
He's a UFA, so he's good as gone.
Oh, so he's gone.
I mean, they could bring him back, but I just don't see why.
I mean, I was wondering because I haven't seen anything on him, and I figured he was gone.
Yeah. And I want to just one more quick thing. A lot of Steelers fans are forgetting that Devin Bush is coming back too, guaranteed, which is huge. And we don't have to talk about that, but just something to think about.
Absolutely. I mean, I meant to say. I mean, you're 100% right, and I think it showed just these past. I mean, just the whole season actually how much that kid actually means to that defense. It's a big playmaker right there, and he's back. And luckily, we don't have to worry about his contract anytime soon for now. But I think they're gonna lock up TJ. Gotta lock up TJ. And just to lead into the last thing I'm gonna ask you and talk about is. It's been a terrible I mean, just for me in general, probably for you, just thinking about the Steelers, it's been terrible. Just what happened Sunday, just absolutely miserable. Depression every time I see a Steeler logo, black and yellow. Browns fans are giving it to us. NFL fans are giving it to us, saying that the Pittsburgh Steelers are done. Now, I have what I'm going to say on that, but what do you have to say to the people that say the Pittsburgh Steelers are done? Because I know you've heard it. I see it all the time on Twitter, and you fire back at them. So what do you have to say to the people that say the Pittsburgh Steelers are done?
I don't believe it. I think that we have a good enough roster to compete, and I think we have a good enough young players to compete. I don't think we're done. I think we have 1 year left with Ben. And depending on how the team can look opening day 2021, I'll tell you on if we could be a Super Bowl team or not. I think we can be a playoff team, in 2021 regardless. But going forward, and 2019 is a perfect example, the 8-8 without Ben, with Duck and Mason. With a Jameis Winston, with a Dwayne Haskins, we talked about it earlier. That they get us to 10 wins and we get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We've shown that an 8-8, but we've shown that we can at least compete without Ben. Compete. Not saying anything. We can compete with the roster that we have without him. So if we find a way to get a good guy in there, I think we're set for years to come. So no, I do not think we're done.
Absolutely. My thing, I'm just gonna try to keep it short. Shut up. To everybody who's saying it, just shut up. Because we are not done. We are the Pittsburgh Steelers. We reload. We do not rebuild. We reload. It does not take us 18 years to get back to the playoff game. It does not. This team knows what they're doing. It's a franchise built off success. Everybody, they say, quit talking about the past. No, because you know what? We have a past. What's your past? To the Browns fans, your past is seeing your team get up and leave you, and then going through a season not winning a game, and got them, and walking downtown Cleveland and looking in the window and seeing a doll or whatever it is, a mannequin with a jersey on with all the different quarterbacks' names. No, when we walked in downtown Pittsburgh, you see Steelers, you see Penguins, you see Pirates, you see proud traditions, hardcore fan base. They are going to be back. They're going to be back next year. They're making the playoffs next year. I don't know if they'll win the division, but they sure as hell are making the playoffs. Number 7. If this is number 7's last rodeo, if it was and we watched it, Browns fans, you should be happy because that man, even though he lost on Sunday, he still owns you. You can't deny that. He still owns you. He's 23-3-1 now against you. He owns you. I mean, he owns Cincy too. So if that's it for him, cool. We'll just open up the next guy and he'll come in and start on another record. The Pittsburgh Steelers are not done. They will be back. It feels like hell, but come in September, the sun's gonna come up. There's gonna be towels waving at Heinz Field, and we're gonna be on here probably talking about our Super Bowl run for that upcoming season. So, Bo, thank you for joining. I really appreciated it.
Absolutely, brother. It was good to be on here and love talking Steelers, even though, again, the circumstances we talked about. I will do it any day of the week.
Absolutely. We'll probably have Bo on here. If breaking news breaks for the Steelers, we're going to try to start doing this a little bit more often. I know it's off season now, but Bo knows his stuff. So if you want, I'll leave Bo's Snapchat or Twitter page in the description because Bo knows his stuff and he loves his post-game talks and they're great to listen to. So we're going to get him on here whenever we have something to talk about Steelers. Thank you for watching, guys. Check out On the Lake Sports, Twitter and TikTok. We are close to 1,000 followers, and we appreciate it.